My parents got divorced when I was 7 years old, and my therapist disregarded my feelings using a silly game to decide who I love most. I was a child who dealt with parents getting divorced. When I was 7, I was forced to go to therapists to play games with them. My mother was trying to get custody and insisted it. It was a board game. It seemed innocent enough. I roll the dice and the therapist picks up a card from his deck and asked me a question. When he rolled, I picked a card and asked him a question. Oh, my questions were simple for a 7-year-old. What's your favorite color and whatnot? His questions were smart, tricky. How do you feel when mommy does this? And what do you think of daddy when this happens? So I sat there for an hour, 7 years old, playing this game. At the end, we left the room and met with my parents, and he said I would do better living with my mother. I specifically remember looking at the man and saying, but I don't want to just live with mom. I want to live with dad too, like I'm doing now. 1 week at mom's, 1 week at dad's. I'll never forget the way that the therapist basically ignored me and said that the game discussions showed that I'm happier with my mom. The look on my father's face was heartbreaking, and he started to tear up. I remember as we were walking out of the place, my parents stopped in the parking lot to discuss things, and I stood there waiting for them to finish arguing. I remember getting so frustrated because they were talking about me in front of me. I stopped them and said, "Why didn't you just ask me what I wanted?" My mother looked quite stunned, and my dad seemed so relieved. I wound up doing 1 week at mom's and 1 week at dad's until I was 17 and went into college. Mondays, I got on the bus at one house and off the bus at the other. Parents, don't be ducks. Just ask your kid. We might actually have something to say.